Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dasha. In this channel I go by the name Dasa Art. If you are new here, hello. I want to bring my magic of joy. I hope you enjoyed this video and let's get started. Today we'll be drawing a lot of different whales. But first let's prep our art supplies. Right now I'm doing the sketch for all the whales because I really wanted to have a reference photo on the paper beneath before I do the watercolors, because I want to have some guidelines and I wanted to have fun and be free when creating and choosing colors for this artwork. Now I'm looking the picture on the internet how the whales, different kinds of whales look like, and I'm copying the shapes. That's way I can do a lot of different structures and shapes within this limited animal spread. You will see that in the sketching process I erase a lot because I'm not ashamed of that I do a lot of mistakes, and you can see clearly and honestly how I draw, and you don't need to be perfect on the first try. You just need to get going and don't give up on your sketches, on your drawings. You can always go back and erase something if you don't like and change everything and use different kinds of materials if you are inspired by them. And when everything is finished, we can start the coloring process. When I looked out of the window when I was drawing, I saw these cute little birds that they are just sitting on the grass and enjoying themselves. So I just want to capture a little moment of them and show you what's my view out of the window. Now let's grab our colored inks. I love the colored inks because they don't lift up after you put down the wash, and you can layer and layer on top of each other as much as you want and as much the paper holds, because it's a really good color base to work off it. Now for the backgrounds, I really like the color complementary colors, so I choose purple, blue and orange. So the first thing I did, I just fill my cup with water, put it on the table, prepare all my colors, and then I sit down and just start color in the borders. You see here that I have a sketch of the whale, and around it I just put a little border, colored border, and the first thing I did, I used the orange color, and after that I use, I think, purple, yes, and after that I needed a little more variety, so I used a blue color in the end. This is a really easy way to put a lot of vibrant colors and a base for these whales on the paper first, and we can work off of it afterwards. And I don't mind if the borders or the colors are dry in the middle of my process of creating these borders, because this creates a texture, it creates an interesting point that it forces your eye to look at it, and I think the color blends nicely together. You can see here that I use orange and purple together, and on the other side I use blue and orange. In the end it gives a little nice effect. Now I'm just plugging in the pen and I just dry this page really quickly so I can work with a really nice dry pages. That's why the paper won't be destroyed when I put the colored pencils on top. For the colored pencils color, I just use my intuition and I just scan all my colored pencils with my eye, and the first few colors that catch my eye, I grab them and I show them here in the video, and then I just trace naturally over the pencil sketch. That way you will see that it creates contrast. And I use these Van Gogh watercolors that don't lift off if you put the water down, so this is a really good base for watercolors or inks or any sort of wet medium to work. So that's why I really like this kind of materials that go together. Let me know down in the comments which sea animal is your favorite. For me, the whales are really cute and the octopus are really on top of my favorite animals in the sea. So I want to hear your favorite animals. Type it down in the comments. I will really appreciate that. If you are interested in the process I use these new Faber-Castell colors. It's not really new, but it's a new method for me. I put down the colored pencils because I wanted to approach these whales differently than usual. I didn't want to use Van Gogh watercolors or colored inks that I'm used to. I just wanted to explore my other art supplies that I don't use regularly, and that's why I chose these pencils. And I just put the first layer down. I put water on top to blend them a little bit, and then if it needed a little more contrast, I use the same marker, the same pencils to go over it again. And after that, if the whale needed a little more color, contrast or anything else, I just use Posca pen markers, and some of them I use, I think, acrylic markers, Artex markers. So that way I can just show a little more of the colors that I want to portray on the whale. After everything is lined in, I just decide which whale I will work on, and I finish this whale in one go. I usually don't do this. I usually color the base for each and every one of the characters on my sketchbook spread, but today I really wanted to shift things around and start working with one-on-one painting. So this painting, this whale that I'm putting color in, I just finished it to the end. In the end, this method is a really good thing if you are a little more discouraged than usual, and you will see the results really quickly and you will get going because you will get the feeling of satisfaction that you finished already the one piece. And after each and every one of the whales that is finished, you will see this gratitude that is coming forward, that you finished one by one, like you finished the tasks in your home. And after the base is finished, I just use Posca pen markers for the eyes. I really love the look of these small little eyes, the black eyes, and then you put a little dot in the middle for the highlights and everything is cohesive all of a sudden. I didn't really like the second, I think this is the second whale I was drawing, this purple blue one with the yellow tummy. I just didn't like the highlights that I put in. I didn't know how to use. I really need to work on how to put highlights on the dark areas of my piece. This is the first a really dark whale that I'm working on, and in a really interesting shape. For this whale I looked up the pictures and I saw that they are really black, but I didn't want to use just black color. So you will see here that I start with the purple base and the dark blue base. And I was thinking in advance where I want to put the highlights. So on top of it, you can see the back. It's a little more light than the rest of his body. And that's why I can visually see a little bit how the whale will turn out. And then, like before, I just use the water and I blend all the colors together, and where it needed a little more color, a little more darker contrast, I just use black color for the base. You will see very soon that I use the watercolors for the end, just to make the one wash all over the whole whale, to make it more cohesive and more unique, more like it's one big animal. And then after that I use a lot of white color to working the highlights. In this time I just wanted to use a lot of different textures, just to bring a little more life back into the whale. So that's why I use the colors, a lot of different similar colors, to just give this effect of the texture and the smoothness of the whale. And maybe I wanted to portray this water that they live in, and that's why I want to use a lot of highlights for the effect of the wet animal. On the other side I did a similar thing, but I use a lot of different colors. I use for the first few whales black, purple, and then I decided to explore the red, the orange and green, because I really want to put out a lot of different colorful pieces to make me happy and for you to enjoy a little more. If I color in all the whales blue and black, it won't be so interesting as it is now that I'm using the red and green. So you can just have fun. It's your sketchbook. You can create whatever you want, and you need to enjoy a little more of your process and your imagination, and trust your instincts, because this is really important. For this blue whale I use wet on wet technique. This means that when the base is still wet, when I put the dark dots in, and you can see that they are spreading a little bit. And if I want to do a little more texture, I just use my dryer and I dry the whole piece really thoroughly, so that way I can just layer and layer on top, and it won't be tearing the paper as much, because it is a Talent's art creation sketchbook, but I don't know, this sketchbook is really different than others. I think it's not holding as much water as the other sketchbook of this brand, so I don't know what is with this sketchbook. Maybe I did get a little weird pages in it because it granulates a lot, and I don't know why. And if you have any tips, just let me know how can I fix that problem. You can see that in the end, when I will show you every whale finished, that the border around them is really pixelated, and you can see these little dots everywhere, and this is only in this sketchbook. My other Talent Arts creation sketchbooks are really good, and they hold up the water and watercolors pretty good, so I don't know what to do. The second, my favorite whale, is this one that I'm drawing right now. I just go in straight with watercolors. Actually, it was the watercolors because I see it on the side, and I didn't want to bother with the pencils anymore. So this whale is straight from watercolors, and you can see how different the technique works. I use the similar method as on the other page, on the same location on the bottom, that I will use the darker green color and purple, blue, and a little more of the black color just to set in the tone of the whale, and then I use a lot of white highlights as before, and that way you can see that I use a lot of different technique to bring life back out of the whale. For the last few whales, I really put in a lot of different dots and textures because I discovered that I really enjoy that a lot, and it makes the piece look a little more finished and a little more interesting than before. If you think that your whale is looking a little more flat than usual, you just need to exaggerate the colors, and you make the shadows more darker than you see on the reference photo, or the highlights a little more brighter and more precise than you see also in the reference photo. That way you will see that the animal that you are drawing will be a lot more 3D and more convincing to the people that it's really an 3D object, a live object, a live animal, not object. The animals are not objects. And now we go to the next whale. I really wanted to use really bright and yellow colors, happy colors, and that's why I use light green, yellow, and also pink color for the tummy. I don't know how this area is called in the whale because the English is not my primary language. If you know how this stomach area in the whales are called, just let me know in the comments down below. I discovered if you want to have a light and blendy looking highlights, you can put down these Posca pen markers and then smudge it with the hand or paper. That way you will see that you can create a much softer highlights and it can blend easily into the whale together. Here I'm also showing my lunch with my boyfriend that we go out, and we tried for the first time these buns and they were really tasty. And now let's go back to the whale and let's go to the finished sketchbook page. Enjoy! I hope you like this video. Comment down below the whale, or you can put down the whale emoji, and we'll see you in my next video. Stay joyful!